that, I'd like Mr. Williams, if you could give us the invocation, please.
Okay. Let us pray. Dear God, once again, we thank you for traveling grace, for bringing us here together this morning. We ask, Lord, that you would bless everyone here. We ask that we will dispense with our duty, with justice and love. These things we ask in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Just a roll call, please.
Edwin Miller,
Present.
Jill Abear,
Present.
Mella Brown,
Present.
Francis Hand,
Present.
Kevin Martin,
Present.
Melinda Tilley, Michael Grayson,
Present.
James Williams.
Present.
8 board members present, and there is a quorum.
Can I hear a motion for acceptance of the revised agenda?
I make a motion to accept the advisory.
Ms. Cangelo has a petition.
Oh, okay.
It was a consent agreement that last month, y'all, it was for an unlicensed salon, and y'all wanted to know if they had applied for a salon license, and since last month, they have applied for a salon license. They haven't been inspected yet, but they have applied, so I didn't know if you wanted to go ahead and take it up today, or wait and see if they're inspected, but they have applied.
I think we let them get it inspected and take it up at the next meeting,
Okay.
so we'll leave it like it is.
Okay.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The agenda is accepted. Next, hear a motion for the disposition of the July 8th, 2019 board meeting minutes for those to be approved.
I make a motion for the July. Agenda.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good to approve. And so two items for next time. I'd like to move that for the next 2 meetings, the September and October meeting would begin at 1 p.m. So, as pursuant to Ms. Brown and our agreement that we do some alternation because she likes the mornings and I like the afternoons. So, do I need a motion for that? Do you have it? I don't think so. Yeah, so we can just amend the schedule for that. And the other agenda item is we have a lawsuit which we're going to have some brief discussion about this afternoon. But in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege, for the next meeting we're going to go ahead and put on the agenda to have an executive session so that so our lawyer can explain exactly to the board, the strategy implications, our legal rights and responsibilities. The first item on the agenda is the Guys Academy Hair, Skin, and Nails. Mr. Young.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, we received a letter from Guys. They are asking in the letter that is in your agenda, they are asking that the board consider placing in the curriculum of aesthetics 2 or 3 new services. And they are talking about microdermabrasion, needling, and they are asking dermal rolling, nano infusion. They are asking the board to consider some new services that were not invented, of course, at the time of the curriculum. So the request from Guys is that the board study or have a study committee possibly to study adding these as part of a curriculum. Now, something along the lines that this will have direct bearing on is that for aesthetics, it's what, $750, Debbie?
Yes, sir.
$750 for aesthetics. And they're wishing to teach 900 hours. Well, for an additional 150 hours, that's additional money. So if we say, okay, it's fine to teach 900 hours, but also the board laws and rules state that at 750 hours you can come for testing and that's all you have to take. So the board, I would like as a discussion that the board would take up the possibility of having a different or a little higher level aesthetics that could be added, but that remaining is $750, and if a school is gonna teach aesthetics, they need to be able to let a student out at 750 hours trained. And not say if you sign up at our school, you have to take 900 or 1,000 hours with all of these extra courses, because our curriculum says 750. So I think it's going to be a while before we can answer this letter to guys on adding a curriculum. But Mr. Chairman, if you could have, maybe place a study committee or something in a 30 to 60 day period where report back.
Okay.
If you'd like to speak about it.
So is your suggestion that we put together like a working group to consider this?
Or you can take any information that the board members would like to, the school owners would like to place into it, but we're going to have, and I can have my staff look at these new processes to see what they are, because some of us don't even know what these new processes are yet.
Another thing I'd suggest that we look at is the Minnesota law. They just instituted an advanced aesthetics program. And I think it's like 250 hours, and it incorporates these and some of the other services, you know, beyond just your basic facials, et cetera. So, Minnesota. Yeah. It's brand new, just went into effect this year.
Which could be in our law and advanced course, but I think you want to keep your basic number of hours for the basic aesthetics course.
Yes, sir. And that's exactly how they do it. They have the basics aesthetics course and then the advanced. So, okay. I don't think we need to take, I think just the staff would get back to us on that. There's no action needed by the board. Yeah, and any comments or questions on this aesthetics issue? Any other board members?
I'm not familiar with microneedling. Is that breaking the skin?
If it does, it's not anything we can do.
Right. My understanding is it just penetrates the dermis, and it's a way to put, I mean, Melinda, maybe you know more about that.
I don't know more.
But it's like, yeah, it doesn't actually penetrate beyond, beyond the dermis, from what I understand. And it's a way to also apply product in a different way.
Because in our bylaws, I think we prohibited from breaking the skin. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about stuff.
And I think one of the things, to your point, Mr. Williams, we're gonna need more information on exactly which, more description on the services, so we understand.
But I think we're gonna have to move to it.
You do,
Oh, yeah, it's, aesthetics is
It's
just the hottest
changed.
thing on the market right now.
and it's changed so
So
much,
much.
yeah. Well, there's this whole there's this
whole
whole
medical.
medical side of it too. Right.
We'll have to keep up.
Yeah. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the LAC seminar, Mr. Young.
Yes, in your agenda there, you will just notice the schedule for the LAC seminar. If you will read over that, each year it is necessary for the board to approve the LAC seminar. And so Debbie, do you have anything to go over on the seminar part?
No, sir, just the agenda's in there, they just need approval.
Right. And it's got the times, the dates, starting Saturday, September the 14th. And if you want to just read over it, Mr. Chairman, and
Yeah.
let
Let's
the board
give
approve it.
people a couple minutes to look at it. Any comments or questions from the board members on the agenda?
probably all need to at least smoke a couple of cigarettes a day to get used to having to go to the casino again. Because it's gonna be bad for you to walk in all that smoke.
What happened?
It's terrible.
You been smoking casinos?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Should
always.
we ask them to move it out of a casino?
That's
We can
what all
have
the
it outside
complaints
by
were.
the swimming pool, but I mean, it's gonna be smoky in there.
Yeah, I see.
I think the biggest problem is money-wise.
Right.
They give very good rates.
Of course, in the casino, yeah.
A lot of our state organizations use it too.
Ms. Hand, does the agenda look in order to you? We get a motion to approve.
Yes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. I think everyone said aye. Okay, the agenda's approved. Ms. Ryan, I think you have one more thing you wanted to,
During the report.
okay. All right, Ms. Cangelosi, consent agreements, that's the next item on the agenda.
Okay, Ruby's Nails and Spa is a manicuring salon in Oakdale, Louisiana. The owner is licensed, and his name is Vin, V-I-N-H, initial H, last name Coe. When the inspector was in there, found one unlicensed individual working as a manicurist. They paid a fine of $2,000 and board cost of $350 for a total of $550 each, the salon and the manicurist. And they're on probation for 1 year.
Okay, and that was a $200 fine, not $2,000.
Right, did I say 2,000?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, my God.
That's okay.
Luminous Nails is a manicuring salon in Crowley, and the owner, Tao Thi Thu Vu, is licensed as a manicurist. They were doing waxing in the manicuring salon, so a $200 fine, the board cost of $350 for a total of $550 for both the salon and the owner, and both licenses are on probation for 1 year. And finally, Karen Franks was doing business as Butterfly Halo Beauty Salon, and she was operating a salon without a license. It was a $400 fine and board cost of $350 for a total of $750 total. And Tasha, didn't they get licensed?
We've received her shop application.
Her shop application, but it's not been inspected.
Correct.
Okay, so she did apply for license.
Any questions or comments on these consent agreements? No? Do we hear a motion to approve the consent agreements?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agreements.
A second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. The agreements are approved. Next, we have a hearing today, Tiffany Briscoe's, Tiffany's House of Beauty.
Yeah, no one's appeared for that yet,
Okay.
so you want to take up the rest of the agenda, and I'll go look and see if I can find Tiffany outside.
Perfect. Will
Okay.
do. Mr. Young, your report, please.
There are three, probably, or maybe four, places calling themselves companies that teach eyelash extension. They may do that over a weekend or over a week or whatever it is, and they charge a certain amount of money, and then they issue a certificate. Well, the certificates they issue, the students who take the course think they have the right to do eyelash extension anywhere in the state of Louisiana. So what we would like to do, Debbie is working on this, and we would like the board to again confirm to these companies. We will write the letter and bring it to the next board meeting that certificates that are issued by companies in the state of Louisiana does not permit an individual to do services for a fee. And it is still under the Board of Cosmetology. And so these eyelash extension companies that advertise that they will be given a certificate and can do eyelashes are not necessarily legal as far as we're concerned. So if it's all right with the board, we would like to work on that and bring a copy or 2 examples of a letter that the board might issue to these companies that are doing that. Debbie, do you have anything to add?
No, that was it. We just needed board approval to send a letter.
Yeah.
Ms. Celia said that she could help us write the letter if y'all approved it.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I think just to clarify that the certificate doesn't license you to do the services.
Right, and they all think once they're certified by these companies, they're legit.
Right.
And we just need the company to know, inform them that they won't be here in Louisiana. So,
Next item on the agenda is the testing times.
Okay. Mr. Young, I'm sorry. I don't think we need a motion until we get the letter.
are you approving us to write the letter?
We-
If that's what we need.
Right.
Okay.
But we'll approve the letter once it's written, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
All right.
That's it.
Yes, thank you for the letter, yeah.
Thank you.
If you'll look in your agenda, you should have a copy. Debbie, don't leave, you're gonna need to explain
They
this.
don't have a copy.
They don't have it, okay. For each one of our practicals in testing, during the test, when a student comes for a practical test, the practicals are divided into sections. If you'll remember when you did your practical for cosmetology, the various sections of haircut, wet work, curls, pin curls. Our clock died, and when Mel left us, there were a couple of the instructors back there the testers, who thought that the times were 5 minutes one way or the other. We have had this particular time scheme for our practical tests forever. But in order, we would like to reconfirm and have the board confirm these times so that it will be there for the testers from here on. And also, we will send that back out to the schools, because there's been a question of 5 minutes or 10 minutes on some of these tests. And we wish to be perfectly clear when the schools are having the students come in for their practical exactly what each section will, how long each section will be.
Mr. Young, where is the discrepancy or disagreement between what?
It was the makeup application. According to the schools and pretty much a letter we found really old, it was 45 minutes, but one of the testers for some reason drew a blank and thought it was 40. She did a 40, we got a few complaints, so that's when we started researching it. So we put it back to 45, we just want to have it on the record so that there's no discrepancy later on. Okay.
I
Questions?
make a motion to accept it.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Accepted, thank you. Mr. Young, anything else for you?
Also, it brings it down to the attorney.
Before we get to that, I do want to let you guys know, Dr. Sanders and I are traveling to, remember Dr. Sanders with the Department of Corrections? We're both traveling to Nashville. The Professional Beauty Association asked us to speak to the National Conference of State Legislators on the Louisiana project in the prisons to teach cosmetology. So it's pretty exciting, yeah. He's threatening to play his guitar.
That's a threat.
No, he's supposedly really good, but I think it's nice that, you know, this program's moving forward and we're getting some, you know, Louisiana's getting some recognition of helping people get out of incarceration and back to work. So we'll let y'all know how it goes. Ms. Conjosi. Oh, I'm sorry.
Ms. Morris.
Oh, we're gonna do the hearing now, or?
Oh, you want to do the hearing now?
Yeah, it does.
Are they here?
Okay, no, they're not here.
No, so we're gonna, let's let Ms. Morris discuss the lawsuit, and then we'll take one last look, and then.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, you all should have all received a copy of the lawsuit filed by Ashley Roxanne property and two other plaintiffs regarding natural hair braiding is the terminology they use. They're requesting a petition for declaratory and injunctive relief and also nominal damages. It's quite a lengthy lawsuit. The status is now that I have submitted it to the Attorney General's office, and everybody's been served. Our responsive pleadings will be filed today, and then I will get more information on the scheduling. And so I've asked that at the next meeting, we have an executive session to be able to address the allegations and to give you all time to read them in depth and make any, ask any questions or present any comments. But basically, in response to the lawsuit, I will be today filing exceptions and no cause of action and no right of action. And we'll go through those in detail at the next meeting.
And when you say nominal damages,
That's for $1.
for a dollar, so there's not anything for anyone, because we were all named individually, but it's nothing for us to be concerned about.
You all are named in your official capacity,
Official
not
capacity,
individually.
okay.
So an official capacity suit is a suit against the agency, not
Okay.
the individual.
Okay. And we should leave it at that.
Yes.
Okay,
We'll just give,
let's Steve do one more check.
No CD, no one's here.
Were we expecting the licensee to show, Ms. Cantos?
I had not, it's not one I've ever talked to. So I didn't know, but I thought it was a good chance she might not come, because when they never respond to anything.
oh, they haven't,
No.
so you're gonna enter the fall.
Okay, and Tiffany's House of Beauty is owned by Tiffany Briscoe. Tiffany Briscoe was once a student with our office. The inspector who's here today, Nedra Porter, was inspecting the area on April 18th, 2018, and she found at 1219 Cleveland Street in Thibodaux, Louisiana, that Tiffany was operating the salon without a license, and that she didn't have an operator's license present. So I'm just gonna call Tasha for the notices and Nedra to tell you what she saw at the salon.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Ms. Butler, I'm handing you the exhibits that I've marked as exhibits 2 and 3. Do you recognize those?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you tell us what exhibit 2 is?
Exhibit 2 is the informal hearing notice sent to Miss Tiffany Briscoe at Tiffany's House of Beauty, located at 1219 Cleveland Street in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
And that was the address for the salon where the inspector was, right?
Correct.
And do you have any indication showing that that letter was received at that address?
Yes, ma'am, we did receive the green card back from the post office stating that it was received, and it's signed by an individual.
And if you had to guess, it looks like Tiffany Briscoe signed it, but you're no handwriting expert, are you?
Correct.
All right. I'll offer an evidence board exhibit 2 as identified by the witness.
Let it be accepted.
And what's board exhibit 3?
Board Exhibit 3 is the notice of hearing for Miss Tiffany Briscoe, served at this exact same address, 1219 Cleveland Street in Thibodaux, Louisiana, for today's hearing.
And attached to that letter is a copy of the complaint that's being heard today.
Yes, ma'am,
And what time does the notice say the hearing is set for today?
at 9 a.m.
Okay, and what time is it right now when we're having this hearing?
9:25, well, 9:27 a.m.
All right, and Ms. Briscoe's not present, is she?
No, ma'am.
All right, now go back to the letter, which is Board Exhibit 3. Do you have any indication that that letter was received?
Yes, ma'am. We received the green card back from the post office again. It was signed by, it's like a Paul Briscoe,
If you had to guess.
Yes,
But you're not a handwriting expert.
correct,
Okay, and it looks like it was signed on July 11th, maybe?
correct.
All right. And that again was sent to the salon address.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I don't have any more questions of Ms. Bubba.
You want to enter this exhibit?
Oh, thank you. On interboard exhibit 2 in the
Exhibits.
evidence.
The
Thank you.
exhibits itself.
If no board members have questions, we'll call Ms. Nidra Porter.
Any questions for Ms. Butler?
Ms. Porter, would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Ms. Porter, I'm going to hand you a copy of an exhibit that's marked as Board Exhibit 1, and ask you some questions about that. But will you first state your name?
Nedra Porter.
Okay, and it's Nedra, not Nidra?
You can pronounce it Nedra.
Okay, all right. Which way would I be right?
Nedra.
Okay, thank you. And where are you employed?
A Louisiana State Board of Cosmetology.
And what's your job?
I'm an inspector.
Okay, and do you have a certain area that you inspect?
Yes, I do.
And does that area include Thibodeau, Louisiana?
It does.
And is Board Exhibit 1 an inspection report you wrote on April 18th, 2018 for an inspection you conducted?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and can you tell us the name of the salon?
It's Tiffany's House of Beauty.
Okay, and did you find out who the owner was?
Yes, I did.
Who's the owner?
It's Tiffany Briscoe.
Okay, and was Miss Briscoe there that day?
She was not there. There was an employee of hers
Okay,
that was in the salon with a client on a date.
okay, so there was an employee doing cosmetology services at
Yes,
the
ma'am.
salon. And what's the address of the salon?
It's 1219 Cleveland Street in Thibodeau.
Okay. And was Tiffany's House of Beauty licensed as a cosmetology salon or any other license in the state of Louisiana?
It was not.
Okay, and what about Miss Briscoe? Did she have any kind of license?
She has a license with the board, but however, I think it's 3 years expired.
Okay, and her license is really not relevant since she wasn't there performing any services.
Correct.
It's just the salon license we're looking at today, her doing business as the salon, is that correct?
That is correct.
So, in addition to her operating at a salon with no salon license, did you find any other violations?
That was the only one.
I'll offer an evidence board exhibit 1 is identified by this witness.
Exhibits accepted.
And that's all the questions I have, unless any board members have questions of Ms. Nidra.
Any questions from the board?
I do have a question. Is that the only salon that she has? Do you know?
Well, it's right adjacent to our home.
No. That's all.
Is there no other questions? Sorry.
Oh, I was waiting there.
No other questions? Thank you, Ms. Porter.
No other questions. I'll offer proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law for consideration. I see a mistake too.
Everyone have a chance to read it over? Any questions or comments on the proposed conclusions of law, findings of fact, and conclusions of law?
Number one, I think is inaccurate, because it indicates that at all times material, Ms. Briscoe is licensed by the Cosmetology Board. I think the testimony was that her license was expired.
For the last
prior
3 years, yeah.
So we need to revise that.
Yes.
Any other changes, questions, comments? Hearing none, I'd like to hear a motion to approve the proposed findings of fact and conclusions of law as edited in the first paragraph by Ms. Morris.
Can I make that motion?
Second. Ms. Hand, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The findings and conclusions are approved. Anything else for you?
No, just, did you approve the board order?
Oh. So the order is for a total fine of $600, costs for this proceeding, and cease and desist operating, the unlicensed facility.
Do you want to set an amount for the cost?
What we usually set.
I think we were using $6.50 an hour. Cover attorney's fees, travel fees, after court reporter.
So it would be $650. So it's a $600 fine and $650 cost. So can someone want to make a motion to that?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve the 650 and the 600. This is actually for the business. The 600 is for the business and the cease and desist order. Right?
Yeah.
And then the 650 is for the
Cost.
cost.
Second.
Second.
Second the motion. Ms. Brown seconds. All in favor say aye. This is the orders approved.
Thank you. We don't have any other cases for today. We had 2 that we had to continue because the interpreter wasn't available.
Okay. So we'll have a few next. Any other business to brought before the board?
Well, we had, last meeting, we had talked about maybe having extra meetings to discuss that. Yeah.
Propose
That would be
additional
good.
revisions.
Okay, are there some specific proposals?
Well, I think that if we're gonna do it maybe at 1 o'clock, maybe we can, extend our, to meet, that afternoon, to be able to do it. Don't we have a bill that we need to be passed to before December? And we need to do some things in the book?
If there's something we want to change, we need to get it ready for December.
That's it.
I didn't know there was, because we did it last, we streamlined the rules and did some work on the rules last year. Is there more?
But we talked about
There was some
continuing
other-
education.
Right. So I'm thinking that maybe we could do this on our next, meeting, where we
So
can
work
start
on continuing
discussing.
education.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know, do you guys know what the number of states are that have continuing education?
I just got an email from Ohio State Board with that same question. They were asking everybody, and most of the replies were what we have in place now. That they only require their instructors, and it's 16 hours every 2 years, basically is what I saw from all the responses
Yeah.
down the thread. But I just responded what we had. I didn't really investigate. I wasn't here at the last meeting. I didn't know.
My old research was that it was voluntary in most states, not mandatory. There were a few states that had that in place, but not very many.
Not for regular.
not for just
cosmetology.
operators, yeah.
Maybe they could do a little bit more research and we could bring it up for our next meeting.
That would be great.
And then that way we can
So
get
let's
that in
put,
the bud.
let's put that on the agenda, if you guys don't mind. Thank you. Doing some research on CE and what, you know, what are other states requiring? How many states are requiring it? You know, what's it look like? Because I know there are a few states that do require it.
I know two for sure, Texas and Chicago.
Texas and Chicago, and Illinois, yeah.
And Florida has, I don't know if they still do, but they were at an online continuing education. They did mostly on sanitation and things like that.
And were there any other items that you guys were, obviously I wasn't here the last meeting, was there anything else that the board felt like we needed to be addressing?
I don't think so. That was it.
You know, the other thing I think is what we talked about at the beginning of the meeting, which
Right.
is an advanced aesthetics, which is,
It's just to clarify everything and then that way we can.
okay. But I believe we'll have time, you know, to at least start the discussion at the next meeting, Ms. Aber, and then if at that time it looks like we're gonna need additional time, like a working session, then we can schedule that.
Okay, great.
I think one thing that worked well last year is to put together a task force.
Right.
So the people, you know, where we can bring in some non-board members who are experts, they do some work, and then they come, and then we discuss it and,
Right.
and vote on it then. Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Anything else? We move to adjourn, please.
Oh, yes, please. I would like to move to adjourn. Is anybody else with me on this one?
I second that. All in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned.